So we're live now. Welcome back, my body language buddies. Live today again, the body language guy. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, and we're gonna analyze this photograph, this picture of Prince Andrew that has just been sued by Victoria Giuffre about those episodes and all this Jeffrey Epstein scandal, and we're going to take a look at that picture, try to understand what to look for when we're analyzing. I think the volume is too high. What we should analyze. Let me see if the input of the mic is too high. I think that's much better, right? You listen to me. Yeah, that sound level is much better now. I'm gonna make you deaf. Hi, there's Paul Adams from Hellsowen, UK. Hello, Paul. There's DC from the UK to Inquiring Mind from Southern Illinois. Fantastic Gallery, welcome. Annabelle Stephens. Okay, let's wait 1 minute. Let's change. Let's start taking a look at that image, that picture. Let me organize a bit the screen here. You know that picture, the picture that you've seen quite a few times, was taken in supposedly in Ghislaine Maxwell house, and I'd like to know how can I arrange the screen here so it will be easier for me to work it out. All right, this is better. And there's another. Here's the full picture that I'm talking about. Let me close this sidebar. It will be great if you just take your time, take a few seconds to like this video. It's just as simple as liking it. Hey, there's Fitness from Texas too. Got the tea ready. You remember? I'm sure you remember this picture. I'm trying to not getting me on the way. Yes, and if that will be much better, right? You see? Yes, it will be much better if I do this, maybe. Yeah, and yes, I will be really. This is the picture that we're going to take a good look today. Again, all this Prince Andrew scandal, you might remember that he was involved in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal of this guy that it was like a network of a lot of billionaires, millionaires, royalty that hire his services to have access to these girls in his island, in his jet. There's also the fact that Bill Gates was hanging out with him. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions and any comments that you want to, I would like to feature some of your comments too. It's also from Spain, Ichala from Spain, Carlos from Tamaulipas, Mexico. All right, Arias from Taiwan, D from Germany, Melanie from Seattle, Washington. Well, the whole world is here now. Now, I would like to start right away talking about a little about how to like handle or tackle an analysis of an image, and it's one of the most delicate things that you can do as an analyst, as you are observing a photograph, and how to tell if the photograph is relevant for what you want. And by relevant, I mean that if you can get relevant information from it. Relevant information is what is the relationship, for example, between the people that you see there. What is the setting? If the setting that you're watching, where was the photo taken? At what time was the photo taken? Who took the picture? There are many factors in analyzing a picture that you might be interested in finding out. So let's see. Right, this is much better this way. So it will be easier to extract the information from it and understand. My goal in this analysis is for you to have the same tools that I use when I'm looking at a picture and understand how you dissect any photography to understand which are its components so it can give you the information that you want. It's not just looking at the pictures, it's not just looking at the postures. You have to look at the postures, the facial expressions, the gestures they have it, the distance between them, the dynamics between the bodies. It's a lot. There's a lot of body language in there, but there's a lot of observation and trying to guess what are the relationships between these people. This is critically important in this case because we know that Prince Andrew expressly denies having been in trams. This is Ghislaine Maxwell's house in trams with and of course with Victoria Roberts back then. That was her last name. As the blonde girl that you see in the middle, that's Victoria Roberts at the time. That is now Virginia Giuffre, and she's suing Prince Andrew for everything that happened under the influence over the power under the power of Jeffrey Epstein. And I think the easiest question that you should ask yourself when you're looking at a picture is the question that we're gonna ask at this moment: is who took the picture? Who is behind the camera? No matter what, if it's a video, if it's a spontaneous video, if it's press conference, if it's a handheld camera or it's a tripod, there's always someone behind the camera, so to speak. Even if I, for example, the person that is behind my camera in this case is myself. I set up the camera, so the camera is my responsibility. But in many other occasions, the person is someone that wants to take a moment in time, and it's important for the relationship to understand who is that person. It's like you might have noticed, it's not a trend because they're doing from some time. Influencers on Instagram, when they publish a picture like waking up in the morning, like they're like faking being asleep in bed. Who is taking that picture? Or for example, when you follow an Instagram influencer spontaneously around their homes, you can imagine that they have an assistant with a camera following them around their home. And sometimes they even act as if they are alone, and they are not alone because there's someone filming them. And that's a bit disturbing and something that we sometimes do not notice, and there's something that we should be aware at all times. In this case, this picture is supposedly was taken by Jeffrey Epstein, and in fact he put his finger, this is supposedly his thumb, you can see in here. We're going to zoom in, and this big white blob is his thumb just getting in the picture. We can't be sure, but since it was stated in the interview that Prince Andrew was at Jeffrey Epstein's home in New York, he was at Jeffrey Epstein's island. There's a very good Netflix documentary about all the Jeffrey Epstein affair, and there are clips of Prince Andrew and in all this affair with him, and there are also testimony about workers that were working at the island that saw Prince Andrew with young girls. Then we can make a good guess that who was behind the camera was Jeffrey Epstein. And it's said that who wanted to take the picture was Ghislaine Maxwell. In case you know, is this woman right here. Ghislaine Maxwell was I don't know what she was. Do you know what really was? It was her fiancé, her partner. I don't know, from Jeffrey Epstein. They were like, she was like the one that got the girls, so to speak. I think that that's the best definition. She was the one that, like, made things easier for Jeffrey Epstein to get access to um, young women, to satisfy the desires of these guys. So it was much easier for a woman to talk to them, to say, hey, you're gonna have we can help your studies, your college studies, your modeling career. We can help you with so much, and you just have to work with us with such and such. And it was everything so great. And there was this thing that on the internet, that people sometimes blame the victims. In this case, Victoria. Like, she knew what she was getting into. She must have been seeing it coming, but they do not see it. Most of the time, they don't see it. And once they get used to that abuse, it's very hard to get out. That's a bit complicated to understand sometimes. I think it's in gray area sometimes, but I think it's very, very wrong to blame the victims, especially when we are talking about young women that are so easy to manipulate. And you know that they're easy to manipulate, and that's why predators like lock on them and get them at all costs. All right, it's like his madame. Yeah, Cassie Cook is his madame. It's a very good definition. Pimp. Yeah, like the 50 Cent song, PIMP. Yes. Agent. Very, very good definition too. It's like, yeah, they call her the madame. She was the one who, like, got the girls in the first place. So it says that it is believed that it was Ghislaine Maxwell that wanted the photo to have, I don't know, she wanted a photo. I don't know if it was Ghislaine Maxwell. Yes, I think I read it was Ghislaine Maxwell that wanted the picture taken of Prince Andrew. She wanted a picture, you remember, Prince Andrew. And so he casually posed with Victoria at that moment. So I should remember that this live is gonna have some terms that should be for grown-ups, at minimum 18 years old. It's gonna be some strong language, strong terms about sexual abuse, having sex with minors. So please be forewarned, that I'm gonna say this word. In this case, says that Victoria is suing Prince Andrew because she was forced to have sex with him 3 times, and she was 17 at the time. One of the problems that I see with this picture is that, and I'm going to ask you, there's another question that you should ask. What is the general attitude of the people's bodies? And in that case, I'm going to do a quick a quick exercise here. I'm gonna blur momentarily the faces of them all. I'm gonna blur them all. I'm gonna do this. This is much better. It's a much better. I'm gonna also try to make my window a little bit smaller. All right, so you can watch them in full. All right. It's very important at first to get rid of the faces, because we naturally go straight for the faces, for the facial expressions, and it's very easy to just draw conclusions because our brain is hardwired to look for facial expressions. That's the first thing we're gonna see. But at the same time, it's the first thing which we use to lie. We lie with our face. We try to lie to present an emotion with our face. First and foremost, with our face. We're not so used to do it with our body. So the body is always going to be more sincere, right? more emotionally, the emotional expression is want to be more clear. I would like to know, what do you think of their posture in this case? Do you think, for example, in the case of Ghislaine Maxwell, I'm going to select here, right? Select and go to her posture. Her posture. Ghislaine Maxwell posture. Do you feel tension? Do you feel like she's relaxed? Do you feel that she's trying to protect yourself? There are quite a few signals in here. Again, all these questions, I don't have right now, like, I don't have like a list. I just start making the questions myself in my head as I see the picture. Because if you have a list, most probably you're gonna see any kind of photograph, and every kind of photograph has like their different scenario, they're different. Maybe there are no people in the photograph, or there's a multitude of people. So these questions not always apply to every photo, so it's not so practical to have a list of questions. But you have to, everything that you can think of, everything that you can see in the picture, you have to make a question yourself about it. Why is this happening? Why does, for example, Ghislaine has a relaxed posture, and at the same time she's covering, like in a defensive posture, her genitals, like this? You seeing that? There's no conclusion yet. There's no logical answer. There's no lie to me fast conclusion yet. We're just making questions. You make questions and you begin building this scene. We see that Ghislaine has a relaxed posture. She's leaning against the door. That leaning against the door is a bit of insecurity. That covering her genitals, it's also a bit of insecurity. In fact, she looks like she's like grabbing one of her fingers. I think it looks like she is grabbing, right, her finger. She is trying to protect that this looks good. She's trying to protect herself from the future, crossing her hands in front of her groin. That, Lucius, thank you. That's it's a cool comment. Yeah, it's a protective gestures. There's no doubt about it. Another question, very important, is what is she wearing? In this case, she's wearing white. When someone wears white, you know that they want to project purity, they want to project innocence. It's something that it looks clean, it's something that looks, those are the concepts that you like associate with white. I think those are, I cannot say if those are just black pants or just dark pants, because the color quality of the picture is not that good. But we are just asking questions and adding small fragments of information to what we are seeing. All right? There's always I don't think you could think of an image of having a guarantee that you're gonna reach a conclusion, but it's always useful to try to do this exercise every time you stumble upon an interesting picture. I've said quite a few times in my videos and my blog posts and my social media that I don't usually analyze pictures. I prefer to analyze videos. Pictures have their own set of information, totally different from videos. My videos are usually analysis of videos, usually are. In this case, there's an interesting picture, there's an interesting case that has so many factors and edges and borders and facets and angles that it's important to just have a look. So what can we tell about their relationship at that moment? So there's another thing. Let's jump to Victoria, the blonde girl in the middle. And my this is a very good Observation 2. Ghislaine, she's covering her neck with the t-shirt, with the shirt. Yes, there's like a huge, a very high neck, and that also is like a protection to her neck. Our neck is a very sensitive place. We're gonna want to protect it when we feel threatened. So the fact that she has that high neck, that she's leaning into the door and she's protecting her genitals, she looks a bit defensive at that moment. Thanks, Nicole, for your very, very good comment. So we were talking about Victoria next, and the same question applies. The first question applies: does she look? If you're a fan of Tarantino, you completed that sentence with Jules Winfield's line. Does she look comfortable? Does she look comfortable to you? What do you think? All right, this makes so much more sense what Patricia is saying. Virginia asked that the photo be taken to show her mom. That makes so much more sense. I don't understand why I read. I'm sure that, thanks, Patricia. I don't understand why I read that Ghislaine wanted this photo taken, and at the same time she looked so I don't know. Yes, she's trying to hide. Ghislaine is trying to hide here. So, for example, you see a press report, you see an analysis or an explanation of the movie, the picture, and you supposedly says that Ghislaine Maxwell asked for the photo, and you see that Ghislaine has this attitude, like trying not to pose with the prince, and you know that should not be true. Well, Christina Schlegel, thank you, Christina, for your super chat. Thanks a lot. So that what I read somewhere is wrong. It could not be that way. It should be that Victoria was the one who wanted to pose with Prince Andrew, and it shows, her body shows much more like being excited at the moment, excited with him. She is comfortable. Her body is leaning a bit. I'm gonna draw a line here. Let me see if I can add a line here. I'm gonna draw a line that is going to help us confirm that she is leaning a bit to Andrew. I'm gonna draw a line from her neck to her navel, like this. Yes, it's up. Like I make it 2 pixels. See that there is a bit of an inclination. She's leaning into Andrew. You can spot that. That leaning, that she wants to be near him. Now, that is the kind of problems with this picture. In this case, Victoria is suing Prince Andrew, but someone that looks at this picture might say, but she was really excited being with him at that moment. But we don't know, and that is a problem with a single picture of any nature at any time. We don't know what were the circumstances before the picture and the circumstances after the picture. Okay, and that's very important. That's really important to know. In this case, we don't know exactly what had happened before taking this picture, but by her attitude, we know, and I'm going to backtrack a bit, and I'm gonna show their faces again for a moment. By their attitude, especially Victoria's attitude, I can say that she was glad to be there at that moment. Her smile. I have another picture here that is much more clear in their expressions. I'm gonna zoom in their expressions. This has much better quality, but her expression. And in her expression, we can spot that. I'm gonna draw a bit here. That you can see not only the full smile with the mouth, right? It's very important, of course, but even more important than the mouth is the way the eyes, the cheeks press the eyes upward. You know that we really smile with our eyes, not with our, not so much with our mouth. It's very easy to fake a smile with just turning our lip corners upwards. But this is what we should be looking for, right? Now, there's another thing, another feature that is important to understand. And that's one of the things that are sometimes a bit not that easy to spot. I'm going to zoom in a bit more. I'm going to ask you another question. I'm going to really zoom in on her facial expression. And I'm going to ask you a question to see what do you think. Do you think both of the sides of her face have the same intensity in that smile? This is really important. I really hadn't noticed. I had seen this photo a lot, and right now, like zooming in, it's like to this version of this picture, because the other one was very jagged. This is no way to like spot anything of her facial expression here. But the benefit of this picture is that you got the whole picture. That is important. But the other one, the one that we were watching now, has much more quality on her facial expression. And in this case, I don't know if you can spot it, but this side of her face, let me change to 1 pixel. This side of her face, what we think is her right side, looks much more intense and has a much more intense emotion than her left side. Remember where we're talking about her side. In this case, it's her right. What I find a bit odd is that it's usually the opposite. It's usually our left side of our faces that is more intense when we are displaying a real emotion. I've told you quite a few times too that we should be able to detect if the photo is flipped. You know that, for example, we got Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and most of the time the camera is flipped, so you actually are seeing the videos and images flipped, all right? Flip vertically. I tried to like zoom in. Let me see if you can spot it in Prince Andrew's shirt, and I think that I can see a button in here. We're gonna alter a bit the, yes, we alter the contrast, and we can see, we can confirm that he has a button in the right side of his shirt, right? Like this one that you can see in mine. In men's shirts, the buttons are on the right side. So to determine, to really know if a picture is flipped or not flipped, one of the best ways to do it is, of course, any text that you can see inside the frame. But if you have no text, just aim for the buttons of the shirts of people. If there are not, always shirts, pants, all the buttons of men's clothes are gonna be on their right, and women's clothes are gonna be on their left. So in this case, we see that the buttons of Prince Andrews are on the right side, or the side that should be in a how do you say that, in a normal situation. I'm gonna like go back and just cancel this. I'm gonna deselect and just going to select this and do it again, just a bit smaller so it doesn't get in the way. So that's how we know that this image is not flipped. This is the original way it was taken. This is the original picture, and so that's what it makes so weird that Victoria has her right side of the face much more intense than the left side. In my analysis, in my experience, I will take this as a not authentic emotion. This is not a real emotion. She's forcing her face to the camera. So she was not that glad to be there. All right? That is in my experience. That's why I make so sure to know if this image is not flipped. If the right side of the face is more intense than the left side, that is not a good signal. Usually it's the left side of our faces that is more emotional, that is more authentic, and that is regardless if you are right-handed or left-handed or ambidextrous. That doesn't matter at all. So that's a signal, a very interesting signal. Oh, another way to know if the photo is flipped is to look at other pictures of the people and try to spot, in this case, the hairline. I don't know. I think we don't have to search for Victoria's other pictures, but you can spot if an image is flipped by spotting the hairline of the people. If you see that the hairline is in the same place than any other picture, and then the picture is not flipped. If you see that the hairline is the opposite side, then, well, people usually comb their hair exactly the same way. So it's a very solid signal to know if an image is flipped. I take very, very, very importance in that and spotting those differences, because sometimes it makes all the difference in the world. So we're talking about Ghislaine's way of dressing in the white, looking clean, looking innocent, looking all these concepts that we know. And what do you think about the way Victoria was dressed? Tell me about it. Reading your comments too. Right. We get this, like, she's has quite some skin exposed, and over that skin exposed we see that his hand is, well, almost completely, you can see that is completely around her waist. You spot that, right? So she feels apparently comfortable the way that she is standing beside him. She is leaning a bit towards him. She is very comfortable dressed. We know that her expression is not that, doesn't look that sincere. It's a bit off, and her pants are really flashy. So these are the kind of things that you see that Ghislaine has a very neutral tones, and Prince Andrew is dressed also with very neutral tones. And the way that Victoria is dressed should take should give you a clue as how is like kind of how is her personality. It's just a clue. It's not a conclusion. It's just a clue that you have to add to that point. For those of you that are getting online now, we're talking about this picture of Prince Andrew with Victoria Giuffre, who is suing him for all the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, and that she was forced to have sex with him when she was 17, and Ghislaine was the madame who was the one who looked for the girls and like supply the girls for all this ring that Jeffrey Epstein had. So this picture is a contradiction or contradicts what Prince Andrew saw in that BBC interview. He denied being in tramps, he denied being dancing, he denied being sweating, he denied everything. And he even implied that this photo could be a fake. There are many tools in the internet that we can use to confirm if a photo has been doctored. This photograph has not been doctored. This photo was genuine. That's why he couldn't say that the photo was not real. He just said that he didn't remember that thing. That is, it's a bit like outrageous to say. It's like you have really bad memory. Being a certain time with Ghislaine Maxwell, you know that he and Ghislaine Maxwell, I believe that they knew each other pretty well. He was a frequent visitor to Jeffrey Epstein, so it's odd that he claims that he doesn't remember that moment. But the fact that he says that he doesn't remember, it's not a hard no. So we can go on. We can go on with his posture. What do you think? What do you think in this case about Prince Andrew's posture? In fact, he looks like she's not that into her because he's hunching a bit. I can draw a line here a bit. I can draw a line here. He's hunching a bit. I think he's hunching a bit, and I think his body's leaning a bit away from her, and his head is totally upright. Alright, it's not like he is trying to be close to her. It's like he looks a bit uncomfortable, just a bit, because his left hand is totally placed on her here on her body. But at the same time, we see a limp right hand. It's a bit that protecting himself. And at the same time, he's absolutely, we have to remember that it's very important, the axis of the body. And the most important axis is the axis that comes from the chest to the front, from the chest forwards. And in this case, his angle, his main axis, is pointing towards her. And I'm gonna choose another color here, like a green. At the same time, and something that's the thing that I find one of the most important characteristics of this picture is the way their bodies are like fused one with another. Here, gonna be a bit more, yes. Here you see this line, spot it. It's almost like a brighter color, or yes, I'm gonna draw it like this way. You can see that it's almost like the two bodies are perfectly aligned, fused with each other, and she apparently feels comfortable with him, and at the same time, her hand, you see there, her right hand is here. You cannot see that because you can see her right hand there. There, that is Victoria's right hand in his waist. So at that moment, even if Victoria's facial expression was not that comfortable, was not that authentic, she felt really, she looks really comfortable around Prince Andrew. That's one of the things that people say, that now you're suing him, you're just looking for money, and or a lot of things I'm not gonna repeat here, but we don't know what was the status of the relationship at that moment. We don't know if she had been forced yet to have sex with him, or what kind of relationship they had at the moment. We can only see what were the status of the relationship in that snapshot, and make a very general guess of what were they doing. These four people doing at that moment on Ghislaine Maxwell house, and that's another clue that this was Ghislaine Maxwell house, because someone went so far as to take a look at the window, right at the back. See that window at the back, right? See that window that you have like a big rectangle, a square in the middle, and small rectangles underneath those rectangles at the same time. Well, someone got a picture of the outside of Ghislaine Maxwell, and I don't know, I had my doubts, but that brings a problem. But this is supposedly the outside of Ghislaine Maxwell house, and the windows do not match. Why do not match? Because we come here and we see, we're gonna mark here with red. Let's use red this time. 3 pixels. We see, use 2 pixels. You see a rectangle here. You can clearly see a rectangle here, and you can see a square here. The two different shapes, one beside the other. And when you come here, you see that there are 3 exactly the same rectangles. So this was not taken, apparently this was not taken. Now, this is supposedly, again, this is supposedly the outside of Ghislaine Maxwell's house near trams. But we know, now we can confirm that this house here, right, and this house here are not the same, because the windows are really not the same. You can see some shapes here, you see different shapes here, so they cannot be the same house. So these are the ways that you begin to analyze a picture and say, hey, there's something that has to happen here, some information that we want to confirm. Now we have like Google Maps, we can find Ghislaine Maxwell actual address and confirm or not confirm that this was the same house. Now, it could be, I don't know, I could be wrong. It could be further. We could go further, and let's try with another color and try to imagine if this was a complete rectangle up to here. It will be a bit more complicated, but if that was a big rectangle at the back, we could, with the measure of their height, we know their height, we know more or less the height of the door, and we can calculate the distance between them and the window, so we could guess with enough time the size of the windows and compare with the size here. And no, it wouldn't even match, because the proportion of these windows is the rectangles are a bit wider. In this case, the rectangles will be much slimmer, so it's not the same house. Could those windows be on another side of her house? I don't know. Maybe it could be another side of the house, but it looks like it's the only front that we have. Or maybe are this one here? No, it's again only rectangles. Gonna try to go all the way back. I think we can go all the way back. Yes. Okay, we have clear again the image. I'm gonna go to the other picture. Try to go back to the princess expression, Prince Andrew expression. What can you see in his expression? Do you remember what I told you about the real smile? You can see a real smile in the eyes of the person. Do you think he has a real smile? What do you think? Well, Tracy says that I'm not looking at the curtains. Yeah, the curtains could also be a clue. Were the curtains in here? There could be two sets of curtains. Yes, there are white curtains in here, and there are very ugly, like dark curtains in here. So the curtains are still not the same. Let's go back to Prince Andrew's facial expression. Thanks, Bobby, for the super chat. No, he doesn't want this picture. He was uncomfortable. Yes, I thought that too. I think that he was a bit uncomfortable when someone took that picture. I think he has the posture of someone that did not really want a record of what was going on there, or did not want proof that he was there at that moment. And I think it was spontaneous. I think it was like Ghislaine could have suggested to Victoria, to she take a picture with Prince Andrew, and she said, hey, yes, it's a good idea to show to my mom, to show to my grandmother, and she took the picture. It's like, it's absolutely, I'm just saying something, it's a theory that you make is like an spontaneous way of taking the picture. It's like Giuffre takes the picture of them and has something that could use afterwards to have some kind of power over Prince Andrew. Who knows? We know that recorded conversations, that pictures, that videos. We know that all of Jeffrey Epstein mansion in New York, it was rigged with absolutely every camera in every place imaginable, and we don't know what has happened with all those recordings of what happened there. But I think these are very simple ways of how things to get things that can give you an edge over people. In this case, over Prince Andrew. So that will be an explanation of why this happened, why Prince Andrew has that attitude at that moment. Victoria's really excited. He is not really excited about that, and Ghislaine is just standing a bit to one side. I could say, I don't know if I could say, I miss talking about Ghislaine's facial expression. She is not smiling. She's not really smiling. It's a very fake smile. You can just, let's blur, just look at her eyes. We blur her mouth, we just look at her eyes, and we see that there is almost no expression in there. It's emotionless. That's the way how you spot a real, not real smile. Right? It's like, let's do the same, just in case, let's do the same with Prince Andrew. Here, we're gonna blur it. If you ask me, I would say like it was like almost surprise or almost like fear, but not no nothing close to a smile. Doesn't look like a smile to me at all. Let's go back and let's do the same with, it's not working. Oh, now it's working. It's very different with her. We blur her mouth and we still can see that there's an expression of joy in her eyes, even if we see that asymmetry, that really strange asymmetry in her face, something that is a bit odd. Yeah, Virginia is smiling for her mom. Yes, maybe she was not. She was a bit uncomfortable at that moment, but the fact that she was taking a picture and she had to smile for the picture, maybe that's why she just smiled with her the right side of her face. She wanted a quick smile, just put a smile on, and then go back to the emotion that you could be feeling at that moment. That's another option, I think. And we cannot make very well. Something that I like to look at are accessories, if any earrings, pendants. I don't know exactly what can you make of her pendant here. What was she wearing at the time? It's something that I also like to try to spot. It's a little blurry. I don't know if we can adjust the contrast here to try to make something of it. Let's see. It looks like a cross to me, but it's like a crucifix, but it's too blurry to really know. All right, let's skip it for now. So as I was saying earlier, studying a picture takes a lot of, I don't know how to put it. Try to understand what was happening at the moment. What was the relationship between the people that were in the frame at that exact moment? What was the attitude of each one? In the case of Ghislaine Maxwell, she was a bit reserved, maybe defensive. In the case of Victoria, she was glad to be there. It was posing. I don't know that. Do you? Hey, I need your help now. I really need your help. Do you see that her hand is like floating? What is me that I? Do you see her hand on her own hip, or is it floating? Like hovering over her hip. You see it? It's really odd. Maybe it's not that odd because Diamond is asking who took the picture. We believe that it was Jeffrey Epstein who took the picture. And that is something that we are just guessing, but I don't know. It's like here is her hip. This other thing that I tell you, sometimes I can watch a picture for analysis, and until I zoom, I look at it, here's her hip and here's her hand. You see that? It's separated. This sometimes can happen if the person is taking a picture and he takes a picture after or before saying, hey, say hello, say hi, say yes, or people are still moving when they take a picture. That is not so common because anyone who's taking the picture usually take some time so people can pose, so people can smile, and so they can take the best picture possible. And this is the kind of things that in other analysis that we've made, I can tell you that it strikes me a bit odd that I have just found this hand that is not on her own hip. It means that she had been fully posing. She was still moving. So that is a hint, a clue that the picture was really spontaneous. It was a quick, hey, smile, take a picture, and store the camera, I don't know, in a pocket or something. And that goes very well with the fact that whoever took the picture, in this case, we guess that it was Epstein, it was so fast that they didn't notice that their thumb was within the frame. So the fact that the thumb ended up in the frame, the fact that Andrew looks a bit uncomfortable, and the fact that Victoria's hand was not yet in her own hip to pose, that tells me that it was like a very quick snapshot, like a very, very quick picture. Hey, let's take a picture, and like store the camera somewhere else. It's a very spontaneous, very quick. All right, those are the kind of very, very specific clues that give you some insights on what was happening at the moment. And the fact that she was not, it's really, it's like fitting in everything that we've seen so far. Like the way her facial expression doesn't really match the emotion of the moment, the way that he looked a bit uncomfortable, with that Ghislaine looked a bit uncomfortable. It's everything like I don't know. It's a series of factors that give you the dynamics of their relationship at that moment. If we had more information about it, if we had more information about what was really the setting about this apartment or this house they were, there's something that can be said besides the picture itself. And I wanted to draw some attention to that very, very ugly painting on the wall. All right? And it was very hard to find a really full, a really complete version of this photo, because every single photo, or almost every photo on the internet, was cropped to their faces. But this was the most complete, so to speak, picture or version of this picture that I could find. And when I'm gonna do an experiment here, and I'm gonna select that very ugly painting, and we're gonna expand it to take a better look at it. This is what the painting would look if we will be watching it up front. And it's really, if I can say, really disturbing. We're gonna zoom in a bit. What do you see there? What can you see? I've been calling her Victoria all the time. I think I was wrong. It's Virginia. I'm sorry. I see an eye. You see an eye in that painting? You see an eye in that? I like to analyze the tastes of people. If they put a painting in their homes because they somehow like the painting, there's an eye surrounded by red. And oh my god, I have to say this really looks like blood. It's a really ugly painting. And it should give you some insights about the taste of the owner of the house. It's really huge painting on the wall that has an eye. Of course, it's a symbol. I'm pretty sure it's an eye. It is a symbol of watching, and a lot of red. It's really disturbing. So, and I don't like it, and I don't like it either. A bit womb-like. Yes. Yes, it looked like a womb too. And yes, it's probably worth a fortune, but ugly. Yes, that's like 90% of modern art. All right, this is very interesting. The blob looks like the back of a woman's head lying on a bed. The red looks bloody. Oh my god, I gotta. Let's do the same again. I want to make that test again with the painting. It's so very good. Remember that this is Jeffrey Epstein's thumb. We should not be You shouldn't be looking at this part because this is the thumb. We're gonna delete this part. Okay, and I'm gonna actually, let's see if we can have a better look at this way. I like doing this kind of, I like spending some time this is really disturbing. This is nightmare fuel. This is not layer 1. Yes, this is layer 1 too. Yeah, we got rid of the thumb. And we can take a better look at it. Yeah, the Illuminati eye. Illuminati, yes. Most probably. That looks like this. Maybe menstrual fluid, like that Metallica album cover. Yeah, sorry for calling her Victoria. Her name is Virginia. They are in London, and Virginia asked for a photo with the prince to show her mom. Yes, that's a real take, or the real background of that picture. Hey, this is interesting. Try to reverse search the image on Google. Maybe we might get a still view of whatever painting this could be. Well, that is if the painting is stored somewhere in the internet, which could be likely, could be improbable. I'm gonna run it through some software later. I'm gonna be posting in my community posts if I find anything. Alright, let's go back to the original picture. Right, this one. So this kind of exercise are important because maybe we cannot get to solid conclusions. We know exactly when the photo was taken. We know exactly where it was taken. We know who took the picture. But this is like going to the gym. You go to the gym to train your heart, to train your muscles, to train your stamina, your endurance, and maybe preparing for a competition. But not every day that you go to a gym you are going to compete. You practice and you train to prepare for the competition. This is like practicing. We're practicing, trying to ask questions. Who took the picture? Where was the picture taken? What is the attitude of the persons that we're looking at here? Are their postures, their facial expressions? What are they wearing? Why do we find those strange things, like her hand hovering over her hip? The very disturbing painting on the wall that is absolutely doesn't go with anything else that we can see in the frame. Maybe we can see that the color of the room at the back is like a burgundy or a brown or a very it's also like a reddish brown. It's a very disturbing color for a room, by the way. All right, maybe it goes well. That reddish brown goes almost exactly with this reddish brown on the painting. So it's a bit disturbing that we have all this white on that side, and we have like this is the like a warning before entering this room. That's something that details that just run in my head, that you should run inside your head every time you're looking at a picture. That's flexing your observational muscles. You don't have to reach to conclusions every time you look at a photograph. It's simply making an exercise to polish your observational skills. That is really important for everything, not just for analyzing pictures. It's also useful for analyzing videos and also for analyzing people. When you meet them, when you meet new people or meet with people you already know, you spot that they are dressing in a different way, that they're behaving in a different way, and you notice it because you have polished your observation skills with this kind of exercises. And maybe you were expecting that I reach a conclusion just talking about this. You should watch my analysis. If you haven't watched it, you should watch my analysis on Prince Andrew's interview. I condensed in 9 minutes the most important parts of his statement, and it was really all over the place. It was really crazy of him of do that interview. It was a total mess. But this is the kind of exercise that I really encourage you to do. And when every time that I find a nice photograph with a huge case like this to analyze, rest assured, well, this is it's so funny. Katarzyna, hey, I have burgundy walls in my bedroom. How do you sleep? How do you manage to sleep with burgundy walls? That's impressive. That anyone can tell me, yeah, well, that doesn't matter because the lights are gonna be out. It's gonna be totally dark. That's how she sleeps. It doesn't matter. But it's a bit ominous. It's that darker color. It's like it's not so friendly at times. And these are the details that I always look for. I try to decipher this kind of details, especially, for example, if the photo is flipped. What is the setting? Who is the owner of this house? Every single question that you can ask, there are absolutely no stupid questions. There are no stupid questions because every question that you ask yourself about what you're saying either brings you more information because you try to observe and understand what are you looking at, or it flexes your observational muscle. So it will help you in the long run, and you will be more attentive to details every time you talk to someone. And that is great because you want to notice that they have, for example, a different hairstyle, or they have a different attitude, or you always see them that they are not correctly shaved, and they are a clean shave, and you notice that they have a very tidy all of a sudden shirt. Those are the kind of like factors or signals that stacking them up over and over, one over another, can give you more information about one person, about one circumstance, about someone's like, for example, someone's office. You learn to look. Hey, they have some books, they have some papers, they have like I don't know, certain decorations. You start to analyze the taste of the person. What does the person like? The person is tidy. What is the person like? It's like profiling. This is a very crude way of profiling the person, and it's really useful because we usually do not pay attention the changes of other people. We look at the same people every day, family, co-workers, friends, and we do not pay attention to changes in dress, how they speak, how they behave, because we are so used to looking at them that it's like we become blind to those changes because we just assume that we're gonna hang out with them and it's just the same. But well, in the case of our family, it's sometimes we can spot certain changes in emotions. It's easier to spot certain changes in emotions because we're used to watching them, to seeing them every day. But we also need to force ourselves to practice the skill of noticing changes in behavior. And this kind of exercise are very good to it because you tell to yourself, you see something as small as it could be, as small as I don't know, maybe you always see a friend always puts socks on, but someday you saw them and they did not put socks on, and that's a change. It could be silly, could be small, but there is no small change. There is no small question to make yourself about what is going on inside the other person's mind. And it's in those tiny details that give you the experience, that give you the skills to go beyond when you really need it. So this case it has been really complicated. There is also this video about Jeffrey Epstein, like saying a statement. I should make an analysis on that, and I'm not that into this kind of the topics. But if you ask for these topics, remember that you can comment on this live. Once this live is in YouTube, you can watch the replay. You can also comment what do you want to see about this case. If there's another angle to this case that you want to add, you can comment it. I will be, by the way, doing a live Zoom meeting tomorrow for my members about the Oscar Pistorius case. I'm going to do a recorded video, an edited video about the Oscar Pistorius case, maybe for next week. But before, I'm going to do 2 Zoom meetings for my members, the members of my channel. Either you can support me by becoming a member of my channel. You can find the button, the join button, beside the subscribe button here on YouTube. Or I'm going to put the Patreon link in the description of this video. And if you are a member of any level, you can join me tomorrow on a private discussion over Zoom about the Oscar Pistorius case. It's gonna be more engaging. we're gonna be talking all together about the case, about the circumstances of the case, talking about the Oscar Pistorius apartment, the disposition, the the structure, what we can see from the pictures, what we can see from the photos of the crime scene. So will be a bit. It's like this exercise, but will be more dynamic, talking all together. So you want to become a member and join me tomorrow. I'm gonna do two Zoom meetings about this case in different for different time zones. So my friends in Australia can also join if they want, and they're gonna be able to. You're gonna be able if you become a member, but you cannot attend the Zoom meeting. You can watch the replay afterwards. So my intention, what do I want with all this, is that I think I cannot really influence the outcome of these cases. I don't think I have the power. I can bring awareness, but I don't think I can bring so to speak, more material of what has already been discussed. But what I could do, and what I think I could be helpful, is in helping you observe and polish and level up your observational skills for body language, for human behavior, for general conversation, for giving a presentation, for persuading in your workplace, when giving a spectacular project presentation. You need to be able to spot those tiny details. It's really, really important, and that's something I think I can help you with, and that's why we are here today. And I'm really glad that 649, we're connected, more than 600 people are here now, and I'm really glad, and thank you for liking this videos. All that you have to do is like this video. If you are not subscribed yet, you can subscribe so you can be aware of every time that I do lives, or I do my recorded videos. I know some of you have told me, I guess it's no one of those now, but some of you have told me that you don't like my lives because they are too long. All right, it doesn't matter. If you don't like the lives, you don't have to watch them. That's easy. I'm going to keep doing my recorded videos, my edited videos. Are going to be like 14 minutes. That's a format between 9 and 14 minutes. Have worked very well for creating an engaging story and engaging analysis when I create these recorded videos. But at the same time, they take me some time to do the research, to create them, to write them, to edit. They take some more work, and I think that these moments, these lives are gonna be. I'm trying to never gonna be more than 1 hour and a half or 1 hour and 20 minutes. Better so we can catch up. We can like study one piece of a case. We can watch a clip live. We can talk about it. I can read your comments. I'm really trying. I realized that no, you cannot talk and read at the same time, because it's the same area of the brain that controls both processes. So I cannot talk and read the comments at the same time. I'm really sorry, because I would like to keep talking and read your comments and answer to them, but that is not humanly possible, sadly. But as someone as Katarzyna is saying, as Lucia is saying, as Jordi, as River Queen, Truth of Dilly is saying, Greta, the other one, the other Greta is saying, Michal is saying, you like my lives, I'm gonna keep doing the lives. I do that for that reason. Some of you like this live, some of you prefer the edited videos. I have a lot of fun. I must say, I have a lot of fun when I see the final product in the edited videos, and I say, "Hey, I like this." I told you sometime, other time, that one of my favorite videos was the Johnny Depp with Amber Heard, and the Britney Spears brother, the Brian Spears interview video was really cool too. But I'm really thankful for your encouragement, because this is sometimes that it gets hard when you do a product, in this case an episode, that you like a lot, like 14 minutes, that are very solid, that are very tight scripted, that are really that I feel proud of bringing to you, and then I become nervous because I know that the next episode should be at least as good as the prior one, the previous one. And it's really hard. It's really hard because I most of the time I get a creative block, so that's why you see that I sometimes make one video a week. And as for me, I would like to get 3 recorded videos a week. 3. I will be brutal, but I would like to do that. So these lives have like 2 intentions. The first intention is that we can share this moment, that we can talk about these cases, we can learn a lot about observing body language, and let's say catch up with a case. And I can do it very much faster, because I just have to turn on the camera, like have the video or the image ready, and begin talking. And of course, this is my best interest, because I want to get more fluent talking to the camera, talking to you here. You know that I still have a bit of trouble trying to think the analysis. In this case, it's the first time I do annotations live during the video. I think it was more or less was quite decent the way it turned out. Doing it in Photoshop, I think it was going to be a bit more difficult. I want to force myself, like push myself to talk better. I understand that most of you like the way that I bring my ideas in my recorded videos, but I like to have the same fluency, like the same skill in my communication when I do this kind of live. And there's only one way. There's no trick, there's no cheat. It's doing the lives over again. There's no, I would like to tell you that there is an easy way, that this is a cheat code to get good at something. And the only cheat code is do it over and over again. And I can say, Water Dreamer says, "Love your videos, Jesus. Thank you. Thanks a lot." Okay, this makes a lot of sense. Someone said macabre painting satanic. Yes, that looks a lot of satanic to me. That painting. Diana, your speech and accent are fine. Thank you. Thanks a lot. I struggle because it happens a lot, and I'm watching series. I'm watching one TV series now. I'm not gonna tell you which one it is. It's a very long running TV series. I'm in the 3rd season now, and it's really good. I'm not gonna tell you which one it is. I don't want anyone to spoil it. But when I finish that, I'm gonna talk about the series, because it's really good. But I sometimes try to listen to the characters, and sometimes these people that have their mother tongue is English, an American English in this case, and they sometimes pronounce words in ways that it's wrong. And I say, and you look at me, I'm watching the series, and you can insert the Leonardo DiCaprio meme from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. He's pointing. I pointed, hey, he mispronounced a word, and it's a recorded series, and he's American, and that's something that gives me hope. My pronunciation and it's like I'm not that worried about the way I pronounce the words. I'm not that worried uh, by this point about my pronunciation. It's the way I use and I juggle with the ideas, the words, and I form the sentences, and I present the ideas to you. That is my main concern, and especially being engaging. That is the most important thing that I want. You speak like Speedy Gonzalez, my favorite. Oh my God, I thought I really thought you speak like Speedy Gonzalez, my favorite. I thought I spoke like Antonio Banderas. I'm really disappointed with myself. I should I should practice my Antonio Banderas impersonation, my accent, my Antonio Banderas accent better. Um, I should do it. And others are telling me that I remind them of Ricky Ricardo. You remember Ricky Ricardo from I Love Lucy? Yes, but is that it's something that I want to encourage you to. It's something that is it's not easy. Something that you have to throw yourself. You have to push yourself. I'm afraid of doing something. I was. I'm not such a fan of Mark Manson. Maybe you know him from the this book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F Word. And Mark Manson had this video about the paradoxes of life. And one paradox of life, very interesting paradox of life, is if someone scares you, is someone. It's just like we're talking about this kind of people. That's why I'm talking like that. If something scares you, maybe it's a good idea to try it and to push you into doing it. Of course, big disclaimer: if jumping out of the plane scares you, maybe consult a professional before attempting anything that can harm you. But if we talk about this case, for example, you know that my first live was a total mess. My second live was a total mess, but longer. I still feel a little anxious when I do these programs, these live programs, and I know there's a huge expectation because I try to always raise the bar in my recorded videos with my delivery, with the ideas, the way I present the analysis. So I try to bring the same quality in a different way in these lives, and that terrifies me. It still terrifies me. I'm still terrified. I wanted to add some music. I didn't. Thanks, Diana, for this. Yeah, hit the like button so he knows how much we love him. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a lot. It's something that terrifies you. If that terrifies you and you're not gonna harm, I'm not gonna get harmed here, but I'm still terrified. Terrified of not being able to engage you in what I want to do. And I did college lectures for years, for more than a decade. I've been a public speaker to hundreds of people at the same time. I have no problem with that. And still, of course, in Spanish. These are my first attempts. My first. This is like my seventh live. So my attempts of doing it in English for a global audience. And this is my way of making the example, setting the example. And if you find something that terrifies you, or if there's something that terrifies you, and remember that you're not alone. I'm in the exact same position as you. I could have certain knowledge of human behavior. I could have access to certain technology. I could have all the disposition, but still want to do the best I can. And it always is going to bring anxiety. And that anxiety, that kind of anxiety is good. But it tells you that you care. That's the best anxiety, so to speak, that you can feel. It shows you that you care. You just have to remember what brought you here to this point, the skills you have, and how to deliver with them. To close for today, there's this always that I always tell. I always have some examples of tennis, and I did an example of tennis that you have to play the game point to point. But one very important factor of tennis, or any sport, but let's talk about tennis at this moment, is you are going to play the match with what you have. This could sound like common sense or something like, I don't know, it's simple as that. Yes, what you have is what you are going to use inside the court, the tennis court. You enter the tennis court, you're going to use what you have. That is not the moment to try to go further or regret that you did not practice more, or you do not have that certain strike or certain way of holding your racket. No, you have one set of skills that you have practiced. That is what you're going to do, and you just have to use it. It sometimes sounds simple, but we start thinking about all the things that are not in our tool set, and thinking about what we do not have just distract us from the tools that we do have. So think about it. When you're going to do that thing that terrifies you, if sales calls terrify you, then try to do them. I'm not saying that you have to be top notch, the best in something that you don't like. It's just have to, like in Spanish we have an expression like taking that thorn out of you. You have to take that thorn out of you to prove yourself, just to prove yourself. Hey, see, I did this. And sometimes when you do something that you don't like, and you do something that you do not like and do it well, when you reach and when you get to that point to do something that you love, and you're going to do practice, and practice is never good, and you're going to remember when you did the things that terrified you, the things that you hated, the things that you felt that you were not too good at it, and how you manage to do it anyway and do it well, and it's going to serve you as proof that you can do the things that you love the best way possible. Now think about it. It's like comparing yourself to your former self. So this was a very interesting picture to analyze today. I'm really glad to spend time with you here. Really glad to for your comments. Oh yes, this is a topic. This is a topic that I would like to. Will be a great topic for maybe a live John McAfee. The John McAfee videos are insane, are crazy. Will be very interesting to touch that subject. Face fear, control fear, master fear. Yes, we cannot eliminate, we cannot kill our demons. We only learn how to live with them. That's a Doctor Strange movie line. So thanks for coming here today. Thanks for joining me today. Tomorrow there's not gonna be a live because tomorrow I'll be doing a Zoom meeting with my members. If you want to become a member, just hit the join button right beside the subscribe button, or I'm going to add a Patreon link in a few minutes in this video. If not, the next video I'm gonna be uploading. It's gonna be Erica, Jane, and Tom Gerard. Finally, for God's sake, it took ages to make that video. I'm still making it, in fact. I hope to upload it tomorrow. And there are many other topics that are in common for recorded videos and live videos too. So this is a way that I could react to this topic faster, so it will be better for all of us. Thanks for joining me this evening, my body language buddies, and I salute you, and I hope you have the best day, the best night, the best everything possible. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and we'll meet again in another live or another video. See you soon, and take care.